Okay, it being 6:05, we'll call to order the meeting of the Carver Redevelopment Authority for September 22nd, 2021. I am going to put out a sign-in sheet. The Board of Health has requested that we have a sign-in sheet for people who attend meetings in the town hall in order for them to do any possible contact tracing, as we've had a couple of incidences come in. So I left my lovely one that I printed
I have
out.
a sheet, Sharon.
What's that?
I have a sheet.
Oh, perfect. Do you have a pen that you
I do.
can? So if you could just pass that out there so they can sign in. And then that sheet simply remains as part of our records, only if the Board of Health contacts us as saying there's been an issue.
Oh, that's my only pen,
Oh.
but I don't need it to do this, so.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go on to what is always first and foremost on our agenda. Jim Walsh giving us an update on the urban renewal plan, and I think we'll have a couple of different updates, right?
Not 94th Street?
No, 94th Street is gone until the end of the year.
Actually,
Oh, wait,
to give you an update on, so I'm meeting tomorrow with Jack Williams.
Okay.
He's coming in with his application, for his permitting for his building he's going to.
Okay, I'll throw it on the agenda for next weekend.
So just
Okay. Who knew?
Just an update, so he's making progress. So today we had a pre-construction meeting with VHB and PA Landers, the construction, just to kind of get everybody on the same wavelength in terms of the project. So we've got the contract is going to be signed by the end of the week, and then they're going to give us a kind of a start date. This is when they're going to start work.
And that's for the road work, right?
That's for the
Yeah.
intersection work at Route 58. There's going to be a new cut-in through some land over to Montalvo Street. That'll be the new entrance. The old roadway in near Silo Marketplace where the was it not Agway, the
Aubuchon.
Aubuchon. I knew it started with an A. That road's going to kind of dead end just beyond the rear parking lot, and then so all the traffic will come in through that other entrance. So we'll be.
And did they have a tentative start date?
Not
Ish.
quite at this time. It'll be within the next week or so.
Okay.
They're trying to get some contractors. I guess one of the first things they need is a tree contractor
Okay.
to come in and clear the right of way, so it's all ready to work on.
And the total time for the scope of the work?
So the end date, or the completion date is June 15th, 2022. And then, as it stands now, we have to have everything submitted to the state by the end of June, by June 30th.
Thanks, Will.
Pass this down.
Send that to you.
Then, the next piece related to that, there's a area where that we need kind of a right of entry to access the Advance Group, which is the owner of the Silo Marketplace. So we reached out, we had an initial meeting with him, and we were looking for a permanent easement. He didn't want to do that, so we requested a kind of a temporary right of entry to do some work there. So we sent him the request, and then I, just went ahead and followed up with that tonight to see if I get any response from him. But VHB thinks that if he doesn't agree, then they can work around.
They'll have to work around it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Just kind of before the meeting, I mentioned in the packet, we got a response back from Amy Questle regarding, one, reviewing the draft zoning amendments. So when they have a red line document that shows all those changes, these were the ones that were suggested by Hillwood.
Okay. Do we have that in our packet too?
Yep. In the packet. And then also the email chain from Amy with the more recent response. So when she wrote the proposed amendment, she added language that the 65 feet can be granted up to 65 feet upon confirmation in writing from the Carver Fire Department and the Carver Police Department that the increased height will not impact emergency services. So that was how to address that one. And then one of the things she noted was that there are several other zoning districts where 40 feet high buildings are allowed. And so the suggestion was if there's a concern at 40 feet, that those heights should be reduced. And those other, so it's a highway, commercial, general business, green business park, industrial A district, industrial B, industrial C, airport, and Spring Street Innovation District all have 40 feet height limits.
So that would be to reduce from 40 down?
Right, so if the concern is about the 40-foot height and the fire department doesn't have ability to reach that height, then the town should consider lowering the heights in those districts, in those zoning districts. So it's just not the Green Business Park District, it's we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 districts that would need to be changed, the dimensional table.
Does that seem off?
No, what that does is that makes it not punitive to one district.
Oh, gotcha.
If you do it to one, you do it to all. But that doesn't address the liability
That doesn't,
issue
yeah.
of the money spent and monies received from the state, which is the direct question that was asked of them.
Right. I did ask if they thought there was a kind of like another type of mechanism, say adding something to the zoning bylaw or maybe in the general bylaws that would be the equivalent of the letter from the Carver Fire and Police Department. Add a section that says in the case of buildings over a certain height, then they would need to meet certain public safety protocols. So that could be a section added to the bylaws that would require public safety to be addressed. So on one hand, you could leave the 40 feet in, but then you have another section of the bylaw that kind of addresses that area, or even make them those 40 feet special permit.
I don't think they understand our question.
They're not.
They're not getting what we're asking. Can we somehow get a conference call with them so we can speak with them?
Sure.
And put our concerns out there, because this is not an answer. And frankly, if they're going to reduce, if they're saying if you reduce the 40 feet in one business district, and therefore you have to do it in all because of safety concerns, the same would hold true for residential, which is still at 40 feet, because the same needs would apply. So it's really changing zoning across the board from 40 feet to 32 feet for everything that's built here. But that's not what we're here
And
for.
that's not what we asked.
That's not at all what we asked.
I would even go a step further and say, I don't think that's anything we want to be talking about. I feel like
Well,
I appreciate the logic, but this is a can of worms that there's no intention to open, in my opinion. If there's a concern about the existing ability to hit 40 feet, hell, that's problem A. We're talking about problem B. We're nowhere near these two things.
Yeah. The question that was posed to council is that in the concern of down zoning the Green Business Park from the 40 feet to the 30 feet, not even taking into consideration the idea that they're proposing 65 feet. So it's going in a completely different manner, and the Green Business Park has been zoned for over 10 years. That Route 44 began acquiring parcels and invested millions of dollars in something that they can build as of right at 40 feet. Plus the grant that was based on the infrastructure grant that is based on the Green Business Park becoming this distribution center, which is what it was designed to be. So if we downzone that, all of that goes away. And what Savory and I are most concerned about is the town ever held responsible for changing something not even in the middle, it's at the end of the game, which makes all their work essentially, moot. It doesn't apply any longer. And we've asked the question twice now.
Yeah, Greg's first answer to the question was closer to what we were looking for than this was. This is completely...
The second way we phrased it is I was looking for specific case law. Is anyone, has Acme Industries ever, Wile E. Coyote, ever sued, the town of Swampscott because they were about to build a hotel in the town after they invested money in infrastructure and such. The town decided, no, we can't take care of that, so they downzoned it to 20 feet in an area that had been 45. And that is solely for the point of example. But that's the kind of information we were looking for. And I think that's the kind of information we're still looking for.
Is there a time you want to try to set up a call?
I think as soon as possible.
ASP.
Yeah, as soon as we can do it. The first thing you mentioned was Montello Street. Now, from everything I understand, the state grant and the matching funds from Route 44 were to build a road to a facility that was zoned for 40 feet. If that zoning gets reduced, does that money go away? And on how much on the hook is the town of Carver for that? And that's just on the road. Forget about everything else at Route 44. They brought in tons and tons of dirt. They did a lot of remediation. They spent millions of dollars.
They acquired a dozen properties.
Yeah. All based on 40 feet. Now, we need to know, we need legal counsel's advice on, what happens. Can we change this without liability? But I think we need to speak with them so they understand it.
I think. So if you can set that up, conference call of some kind, I can make myself available.
Yeah, I can too.
These came in right at 5, so we haven't had a chance to really look them over, but the first one kind of jumps out at us. And that was the one we needed the answer to the most. And the idea of downzoning the rest of the town.
Right, I don't think they're recommending downzoning, but they said, hey, look, in the Green Business Park, it's 40 feet, but also in all these other districts. So if that's a concern, then you may have to broaden a look.
So they want to know whether 40 feet is simply a concern all over town. Yeah.
Right, but that question doesn't take in the ramifications
Yeah.
of changing it.
No.
Doesn't address that at all.
No. All right, so if we can set up a clarification, we've gone kind of past doing this back and forth with email.
Be available tomorrow at better times.
I'm available tomorrow.
I am too.
All right, so I'll contact them this evening.
Okay, if you can let them contact them in the morning and then let me know by whenever.
Okay, all right.
What's next? We have a whole list of this stuff to discuss.
So that was the zoning. Did you want to?
And this is the only answer we've gotten back from them, other than the one from Greg.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So, you want to go to the RFP yet, or?
We'll do that one last. Was there anything that came out of the working group? Because I was not there, either from Pat or Savory yesterday.
The chief stated that he is going to use the consultant service now that he has hired to get into the nuts and bolts of the water issue, the amount of water. He stated that the capacity of the tank combined with the capacity of the capacity of the tank was enough for 7 minutes of firefighting with 12 pieces of equipment, which is whatever we have plus borrowing towns for a facility that size. And then the water would be gone. And there is another 140,000 gallon tank that's in underground, but that is strictly for the interior sprinkler system, so that can't be used. So that was raised as a question, but he said he's going to bring in the consultant, the fire safety expert, and talk about water. And I'm assuming get Hillwood involved in those discussions.
He gave an example from Hanover where he said they have a 3 million gallon water tank, a 2 million, and a 1 million gallon tank. That provides water for their entire town, but also is the source of firefighting water. So they have a lot of water to draw from if they have a fire incident in Hanover.
How big is this tank going to be again? I'm sorry, I forget.
140,000 gallons for the tank. But again, and the question I asked to the chief, with Hanover has a complete municipal water system for all its residents, so therefore has that capacity to service the 13,000 people, I think is what he said their population is.
I think it was close to 15.
Okay.
Yep.
But still, I mean, that's why they have the water. It's not that they did it for fire and everyone else gets to use it. It's there. But what the chief did say is that if there is a possibility of creating a pond that they could draw from at some point, that's something to be looked at. But again, he was going to go to the consultant and ask for the professional advice on the water issue. And that's really all he talked about was the need for water. There was a general discussion that we needed to get someone from the North Carver Water District to join in the conversation, to find out how this is going to impact the residents who are getting water right now. I mean, it's going to increase their water pressure, which is a good thing, but if there's a large fire and that 140,000 gallons is gone, then they have none. So.
And this is the tower that they were going to place on the property?
Yes. Yeah, and he just said, based on other fires that he's been aware of where they have this amount of equipment at 12,000 or 1,500 gallons per minute pumping capacity per truck, that would be dry in 7 minutes.
And is that taking into consideration the suppression systems in the buildings?
The water tanks are going to supply the fire hydrants at the exterior. I believe he was talking more about a truck fire or a parking lot fire.
Oh, okay.
And perhaps exterior fighting to supplement the interior fire suppression system. But the water tank is only going to supply the fire hydrants around the perimeter.
Okay.
But if there are 12 trucks, it's gone in 7 minutes.
It's probably going to be more than 12 trucks.
Oh.
Oh, you mean 12 firefighting trucks?
12 fire trucks.
Gotcha.
12 fire trucks. 12, if there are 12 pumpers. Anything else, Pat, that...
No, I think that chief's concerns were the water.
Yeah.
That's still big and is really kind of not so sure if there's a meeting of the minds on that one right now. And that's to be continued.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Are they meeting with the North Carver Water District?
I don't,
I mean, I've watched the last couple of meetings, and
I think there was discussion of trying to get somebody in. I don't think that they have. And there was talk about meeting the external water person.
Right, to try to get the small water systems person to attend the working group meetings, so
Right.
that way they can provide information that board members who are working can't make it during the day.
Right, it seemed that there was difficulty in getting anybody from the North Carver Water District to start a communication with anybody. So, that was the crux of it. I did ask about distribution of monies after this place is operational. Would it be, earmarked for certain things? And the quick answer that I got was that if it's in fact property taxes being paid, that it goes to the general fund. So and then gets distributed based on town meeting and line budget items. So I think that was pretty much it
okay,
from that meeting. If I think of anything else that happened, I'll
chime in.
I didn't bring my notes, unfortunately. They're in a folder, too many folders.
No kidding. All right, then I think the next thing is discussing where we are with hiring a consultant. I think hiring our own consultant. So I think the agreement is all in place, right? Okay, so that's done. We don't have the 20,000 yet.
I'm not aware of it, no.
We don't have it in hand. I was gonna, actually, we're still transitioning this treasurer's role and waiting for a natural break point, which I think we got to. I was gonna talk to Johanna about that tonight, but she's obviously not here. But I was talking to Rick about the $20,000, and it's ready when we are.
Okay,
So I may just have to, take.
yeah, Joanna said she'll call you in the morning
Okay.
to get this treasurer thing done. But maybe I can ask Rick. The agreement between Hillwood and the RDA, that's signed by both sides, and we're just waiting for the account, or?
Yes, we just need to tell them where to send the money, as simple as that.
Yep.
So that's where and when they.
Like a bank transfer or something. Joanna was mentioning they were looking for a W-9 form.
I'd have to look that up, I don't know.
I'm
They didn't want anything, I don't recall them wanting anything from the town.
Okay.
From the town, I mean, I don't think that they had.
I don't even know what it is.
It's a tax form.
That part I figured out.
It's I think there's no sales tax on certain things.
W-9? I didn't know if it was like a tracking of where they sent money to, where they sent money. So.
Answered everything's in my pocket.
We used to have brain cells. I could have actually looked it up after she called and told me about it.
I have to double check it.
This was Joanna bringing it up, saying that they were looking for, and I don't know, she didn't speak to anybody from Hillwood, but they were looking for a W-9 form.
It's their taxpayer identification
Oh,
number.
theirs or ours? We don't have
Theirs,
one.
they're the consultant's company. They would have to provide a W.
Got it. So it's just the consultant,
Where the
so,
consultant is hired, yes.
gotcha.
That makes sense.
Okay, so that's all they need before they send the money. So, okay.
We don't know.
Well, we're not there yet, but we will be.
Right, I think once a vendor is hired, they need a W-9. They don't need a W-9 to send us the money.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
What about the same situation with the fire chief? Was there a W-9 that, because they've got a consultant?
Well, yes, they just recently have engaged the consultant. They haven't really yet.
But they got the
Yeah.
they got the 20,000.
Correct. I know
Yeah.
they haven't spent any yet. but
Yeah,
Let me check on that
yeah.
tomorrow.
But let me see, we've got a,
Shall we?
actually, I probably should create another account within the bank, but we've got a couple that we've got an empty account that we can put it in, at least to get that. So I'm gonna straighten that out with the bank tomorrow.
All right, we'll double check what they need. Now, obviously, the town has a tax exempt.
Right.
The RDA, so the RDA may have to obtain.
I don't think they're looking for a tax exempt, they're looking for a tax ID, so wherever the money, so whoever the money goes to, they want the federal ID number from that entity. That's the way that I would understand that.
Yes, because we're giving them money, so that has to be reported. Well, we would be giving the consultant money, so that as income to them, it has to be reported. So when we write the check, we have to say this is their federal ID number. It's fairly common. I would think that, Pat, that the chief, it would be part and parcel of any proposal that we got or
Yeah.
that the chief got. I mean, it's
Yeah.
very common request.
Yeah.
But we don't
I
have.
know that, I don't have to double check. I don't know if the town provided that to Hillwood or not. but
Well, if they
that'll
wanted
be
one,
easy to find out.
if they wanted one from us, they must have wanted one from them too. So we just, either way, it's just a simple form to fill out.
Does the bank require EIN from the Redevelopment Authority to set up an account or accounts?
I don't know the answer to that. But I'll be talking to the bank tomorrow.
And would that be like a wire directly to the bank?
That would be an electronic deposit, yeah,
Okay.
as opposed to a paper check.
I'm not sure I'd even recognize one of those now. All right then, so I think the last thing that we need to discuss is the request for a proposal for the consultant service, which I appreciate Jim putting this together because I tried and it was just foreign to me. I had all of this kind of all jumbled up into one massive sentence. And the more I tried, this just isn't my kind of lingo. But what we were looking for is something we can send to the consulting companies. Right. So, go ahead, Jim, explain it.
Well, I put something together after the meeting. Saber and I had a little discussion, so I tried to add in his points. So the beginning is just sort of background about the overall project so that people understand, okay, this is what we're kind of getting into. And then now we're at the point where we actually have a specific developer for the site. And then, so the scope, kind of item number one is public outreach and information campaign to residents of the town to make them knowledgeable of the history of the work that has gone on in the redevelopment area for the past 20 years, and then the Hillwood proposal. My theory is that a lot of people in town probably completely unaware of everything that's gone on before, and so this will be all new stuff to them. And so I think we just need to be able to have someone who can set up the public information forums, maybe even attend some like planning board meetings, conservation, other permitting boards, so that, okay, you're now being aware of this body of work that's gone on for 20 years. And now we have a specific proposal coming in from this company called Hillwood, and so that they're aware of all that. And then part of that, they would consult with Paul here regarding information, put onto the town's website, the webpage, and Hillwood's website. Then also assist the Redevelopment Authority in town in determining whether residents are for the project or against it, or undecided, and then what factors would change their position on the project. That's kind of the first task. The second task, assist the CRA in town. I put both together because it's really helping both. In identifying potential impacts of the proposed proposal on town services, including fire, police, emergency, public works, schools, etc., and identify measures to mitigate those impacts. So if they're not already outlined in, say, the environmental impact report, or I know Hillwood's, they're hiring a traffic consultant to kind of update information for the traffic, study on the site. So they would look at that information and be able to comment on it for the town. Or are there any other impacts that we're currently not aware of, or if they have a knowledge of similar type projects, can they identify things that Town A probably went through and they did something, and then after they got the thing approved said, oh gee, I wish we had done that if we had known about it. And then let's go down to to cover the one about traffic requirements and traffic studies. Number 4, assist the CRA in identifying other potential impacts of larger scale distribution centers based on consultants' knowledge of such centers that may not be readily apparent to the CRA or the town. Number 5, assist the CRA in town in identifying vehicles or mechanisms such as a developer's agreement that would contain commitments between the town, CRA, North Carver Water District, etc., that would provide the town and other parties to move forward with the proposed zone changes at town meeting. Kind of awkwardly worded, but the idea is that is there a developer's agreement or some other kind of contract between the town, the Redevelopment Authority, and the Hillwood that would, also include the Carver Water District, so that way everything's in writing and this is what we're going to do to move forward with a development project.
Okay. And in the scope of this, can we loop in like the North Carver Water District so that this consultant could also assist them, or is it?
That's what I would suggest.
Can it be our discretion, or?
Right, because I think, the idea is to, when I say the town, when I say the CRA, it's really everyone together.
Okay.
North Carver Water District, so that the Redevelopment Authority is kind of, lack of a better word, champion the project.
I think of
But
ourselves as the mothership, everybody else.
And coordinating the project, and so I think we need someone to help make sure that all the different pieces are taken care of. So if there's questions that North Carver Water District have, or they're struggling with something, then this consultant could also help them with that.
Because at this point, we don't know whether North Carver Water District has even proposed getting their own consultant.
Right. And then this also addresses Hillwood's concern about, having multiple consultants kind of studying the same thing.
Right.
If we could have them, have one consultant that could help everybody study the same problem, I think that would be the benefit of that.
So has everyone had a chance to look this over? Do you see any glaring errors or
The only thing that I see here, Jim, in number 5, under the scope, the last sentence, it says, provide the town and other parties to move forward with the proposed zoned changes. That probably should be zoning.
Okay.
But other than that, I think this is fine. I think this is concise. It gets us,
It's what I had in my head. I had no idea how to put that
It's not
down.
the 16 pages from Quincy.
No, that did nothing but confuse me.
And that was a tough example.
It was.
Plus, there's all the contractual boilerplate.
Yeah, yeah,
nonsense
it
that we
was-
Put in there.
Yeah, I looked at that and thought,
Fortunately,
kindling.
we don't agree with that.
For the record, that's where the ripped up road is that I ran into. When I read this earlier, I think it's great. The only thing I was thinking of, and I don't know if we want to add it or don't want to add it, but did we want to have them consulting with us on perhaps outreach to other towns? And if so, do we want to include that? I don't know, but that was the only thing I thought of.
In what manner? What do you mean? Oh,
Just if we had questions about similar projects.
Similar projects in other
That's what I mean,
towns.
like, what has happened in other situations that we may want to be aware of, or ways we may want advice on how to talk to the folks in the other towns to make sure that what's going on, I mean, if we're taking care of business here in Carver, that's great, but if things surrounding the project are not going so great, it could influence what's going on here, just a thought.
So would that be coordinating additional information from similar projects in other municipalities?
No, you're talking more about community outreach to people outside of Carver, is that correct?
I was thinking both, honestly.
Both?
So one will be outreach to Plimpton, you know, like Plimpton,
Well, definitely.
even Middleborough, but, yeah.
Yeah.
Or what's going on in other towns when these kinds of projects have gone on? Are there experiences that they could talk to us about that we could trade on?
I think number 4 covers that.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Okay, put that. And then maybe,
It covers the knowledge of other towns, of such centers in other towns, but,
so maybe number 1, the public outreach we can add.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Have to,
Missions.
something I thought about.
Not a public, missions.
I call warranty.
Say adjoining towns.
Yeah, the residents of Carver and neighboring communities.
That's good because we'll probably need coordination with making sure that Plimpton is covered and probably that section of Middleborough because we remind Hillwood each time we see them, get in touch with Plimpton and they haven't yet, to my knowledge.
Right.
And I hear from one of their select board members
Yeah,
a
I mean,
lot.
they've been here a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's clearly important to them.
Yeah, yeah. She actually sent me some information that I forwarded on to Hillwood, which identified the neighborhoods when Christine Joy was here at our last meeting. She sent me some information that she had from 2016. It was wasn't that? I think I sent it to you too. It was a legal opinion from 2016 and a kind of a map with some annotated information, what they considered would be impacted neighborhoods. So I sent that on to Hillwood because just to give them a little bit of a boost as to this may be what you need to rectify. And
When she was at our last meeting, she said that there were 75 homes impacted.
yeah, she sent the little map.
Did she identify how they were impacted? What it was that impacted them?
It was going to be noise, traffic, dust, mostly noise, traffic, dust, light.
Probably the noise is more so after the facility is up, and then
Yeah,
the question was, okay, we talked about backup beepers and all the trucks.
yeah,
And Hillwood said that there's some new technology that addresses that, where they don't need to use the backup beepers, but I know of a family friend who lived in an apartment near a warehouse, and that was the thing that drove him crazy with the
Yeah.
backup noises, so we want to make sure that, you know,
Well,
that those concerns are addressed.
I think it's grouping all 75 together with all of those problems is not fair. Because certainly the people who are out back in the northwest corner are not going to be affected by traffic.
she sent me a Google, I thought I sent it to you. She sent me a Google Earth picture of the neighborhoods. And
Right.
they're all in that back,
Yeah, other than Heather's Path.
right,
Heather's Path may be affected by traffic because of Montello Street, but
Right.
none of the others are
none of the
affected by
others.
traffic.
Right, but it was
So-
all She lumped it in, and she had a list of the streets and how many homes were on each street.
Right, but I mean, those could be impacted by noise, they could be impacted by dust during construction, but it's not fair to say they'll all be impacted by traffic, because traffic's a larger concern than noise.
All right, so our plan is to make those grammatical changes and add that sentence, Jim.
So what I'll do on 1A, where it talks about meetings with town boards and commissions to inform the public, what I'll do is inform the residents of Carver and neighboring communities about the site history in the Hillwood proposal. And then down below, make that change from zone to zoning. Is there anything else anyone sees?
1 second, Jim, I was in the wrong place. I think that you should make that change in the first paragraph, not in under A,
Okay, so.
all right? To the resident
Oh, residents, okay.
of Carver and neighboring communities,
All right, so.
Okay, so it'll be
okay?
up here.
Because that then covers the rest of it.
Right,
Good point. Yep, very good. All right, so we'll
And then leave A as it is,
undo the other change.
because that's already covered.
and then we'll send this out tomorrow
Yeah?
to the,
Yeah,
Right.
I owed you the
yeah,
list,
it's,
additional names.
right, the other two names. And then the list, do you want me to send it? You to send it? I'll
Yeah,
send
how
it.
do you want to, you want to sign it?
I'll sign it and copy you, so send me the new PDF and I'll include that.
Okay, and then we probably also should say, Carver Redevelopment Authority. Up in the title.
Say what?
Oh, Carver Redevelopment
Oh,
Authority.
okay.
And then, how do you want to term it? North Carver Urban Renewal Area?
We're
No?
trying, we're dropping, I think we're calling it the Route 44.
No, I don't think that's right.
That's it.
North Carver
North
project.
Carver
Because Route
project.
44 could be associated
Yeah,
with the
that's-
developer
right.
who's going to eventually not be part of it.
Say North Carver Project?
Yeah.
Is that what we're using on the website?
Yeah, the second one, the second one, you have urban renewal area, so we'll just say project area on the first page.
Can I ask you a quick question, just as a citizen?
Sure.
On that? I haven't seen that particular thing, but you were talking about impact on services. Do you need a category of safety? I know
I
it's
think-
fairly broad, but it might be included under everything, but.
Right, so we said, impacts of the proposal on town services, including fire, police, emergency medical services, public works, schools, et cetera.
Why didn't hear that? That's all. Thank you.
But it's good to help.
So if on the first page and after about Carver, you just make it North Carver project area
Okay.
instead of urban renewal area. Right. That will be my job in the morning until I hear from Amy Questle, right? That's the other thing. All right, is everyone satisfied here?
On this?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. That would segue us into conversations with Paul.
Yes. Paul and I met, we can go Tuesday, we could go yesterday, I think, and.
And that's Paul Kelly.
Paul Kelly, who we have identified as a person who will be working for the RDA to put together a website which will be used to we will direct people to that website for them to find out information that they want and need on this project. And we'll also be able to, on the website, ask questions that will be answered in a timely fashion.
Just reading, Paul gave us a little
Yes.
summary in your packet.
Yeah, Paul hit the ground running.
Sorry.
But no, it's fine. And I have to apologize. I had friends and family in from Friday until put the last one on a train this afternoon. So I really was sort of off the grid for the last 5 days. But I do have some things that I want to share with the board that Paul has sent me, some kind of, some outlines of things that he would like to do, or that we talked about in setting up really the architecture of the site. And Paul has met with the town to gain access to the town website so that we can put things on. What Paul and I decided is would probably be the best way to do this is to create the site as a standalone, but have it directly connected to the town website, so that the town gives it the credibility, but by having autonomy over its content and the speed at which we can change it, that those are in the control of us through Paul, so that we can post our meetings, post our agendas, post minutes if we need to, make last-minute changes, and answer the questions that people have much more quickly than if we had to go through the town process. So it's going to look like it's a town page, but it will be managed by us through Paul.
So they're gonna go to the Town of Carver homepage.
Yes, the link will be RDA.
There is already, just in regards to this project, that's why I knew the
Right.
title. Where it used to say the police station building,
The town.
it now says North Carver project. And now the
Oh,
next
so they have a tab that
Yes,
The
was
tab is
open,
just on
right?
the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had explored other opportunities, and it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like they have that.
So
The outside might give us a little bit more robustness to, that we can do some things.
Right, so I assume that the website, and you may have sent this to me, I haven't looked, but it's www.carverma.org/North Carver Project?
I can.
We'll get there.
answer that. Yeah.
Okay. But that's where it's going to go, but it'll be through the town of Carver, so that everyone goes to the same place.
And will this be a place where they can actually ask questions that
Yes.
we can? So there'll be
Whatever
the
the
little
regular site
text boxes that they can provide their email and their question.
Yes.
And then we can answer it or post it and answer it?
Post it and answer it,
Okay.
or find the right person who can answer
Who
it,
can answer it?
and get the right answer and post it as soon as we can.
And were we working with Hillwood or?
Well, this was with Paul.
Okay.
I had a video call this afternoon with a gentleman by the name of Patrick Fox, who works for a company called Consensus Strategies. And they are the public relations firm hired by Hillwood to help us through this project in conjunction with you and with us. There were a lot of what we talked about that we agreed, or he thought were good ideas in regarding our website. He is a firm believer in talking and engaging local influencers. Talking to people who make decisions, who have a tendency to speak and sway
Okay.
people. And his question was, with whom do we start the conversation? And that's something that I think all of us need to think about
We do.
in order to, obviously, we talk with the people on the planning board, we talk to the select board, but there are other people in town who are vocal, and we engage them pretty much one-on-one. And we engage them one-on-one and to talk about the project and find out where their concerns might be, so we have an idea of where to start addressing
Okay.
questions. So that was a big part of the conversation. There was also a conversation about different, it started as different ways for Hillwood to distribute the financial benefits when the property opens. And I basically said, that's not us. That's, that's you and the town through your fiscal analysis of how that happens and, how that works out to, I don't know, it's not like payment in lieu of taxes, but it's in-kind things that take the place of or gives them a reduction in taxes. We'll offer you this for the schools, we'll offer you this for the recreation department, things like that. And I said that's outside our realm. And he was very, and Paul touched on this too when we met. There are certain things that should be done at certain times in the process, including one of the things that he thought that we should do as a committee before town meeting, shortly before town meeting, 2 to 4 weeks before town meeting, is write an op-ed and get it in the paper, saying that this is endorsed by the 4 or 5 of us. And the question that came up was, there's the conundrum of how soon is too soon. In getting people to have time to sort of like circle the wagons and to come up with contrary opinions. But I said to him, I want that to happen before town meeting than during town meeting. So maybe earlier is better so that those concerns are out in the open and we can start to address them.
Exactly.
And he agreed. He said that's a thin line of where you want to go. And then he circled back to the influencers and saying that's probably going to be a better way to guide us on how we move forward. So that's where we stand with between Paul and Hillwood's consultant on outreach and getting things done. Their feeling is that the internet is really the way to go. They understood our concern about having a Facebook page. They agreed with us not having one. And they like the idea of newspapers. They were, radio, they're kind of like, not many people really pay much attention to that. We did not get into a conversation about Area 58, but we can. So that's kind of where we stand with outreach on my end from these couple people. One thing that, and Paul, again, I apologize, Paul sent out some revisions to the FAQs. Were they just to me or to the whole team? Do you remember?
No, I sent the document.
Yeah, everybody got them? Okay, so I frankly have not had a chance to look at them yet. So I do want to go through them. I think there are probably a couple that we can just eliminate for now, maybe add them, or maybe add, see if someone asks them.
Sure.
Then we can add them as opposed to coming from us. So I think that's something, I know we're supposed to meet next Wednesday, is that correct? So we, for interviews, but we may also want to have a meeting, a regular part of the meeting.
Probably will.
And I will have read all the FAQs, the revises by then, okay? And that's it, that's all I have.
Is there a time frame when we might think this website will be up and running?
I think as soon as we get the FAQs done, we can at least start
We
with
can
that.
at least introduce it and,
Yep.
and is there a mechanism to get at least some of the preliminary plans up or?
I haven't done that yet.
Well, we can discuss in detail.
Patrick Fox from the Consensus Strategies would like to meet with a couple of us, with his team. And I mentioned you being involved as well, because you're going to speak more of their language regarding how things get put together than I can.
Is he local?
He's Boston.
Okay, fine. Oh, good.
We'll set something up with him. But I think once we have, one of the things that we're going to migrate to this page or duplicate on this page are all of the things that are currently on the RDA page. The URP plan, the need to study, things like that. So it'll be available in both places, but at least it's filler. It's something that can be on our page too. And then we'll put the FAQs on as soon as we can. And then they are going to be working on their own sort of here's who we are type video, and here's what we've done in other places.
Okay.
And when we get that, and that's something we'll talk about when
we all get one.
yeah.
Okay.
So I would say within the next week or two, we would probably have something to put up there, because we can always add to it, and we can add to it quickly based on the way we're going to format this. So.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
I have a quick question, if I may.
He can't see you. Go ahead.
Just curious, as technical probably for Paul, if we're going on the town's website to a link, and then it's going to take to the website that we're going to be building, and where will that website actually reside?
Most likely it'll be on something like Wix or otherwise, which is a hosting. Basically, it does it for Ultimate for everybody on. I mean, we're speaking out of school on some of the stuff, we're out of turn. But I think the initial thing that we'll probably do is start working on the town website to make sure, because I'm finding that there's titles and some other things that are not up to date and things along that line. We want to get all of that fleshed out first, and then we can work the back end of the other, and then work it from there. So there will be something all the way through the process anyway.
Thank you.
Are you due to call Patrick Fox again to set up a meeting, or?
You and I can talk about it.
Okay.
I think we can meet and I can talk to Paul.
Okay.
But yeah, he seems to be willing and able to do it. And I have no company coming, so I can do it.
And is there any update on the fiscal impact with Judy Barrett?
I think Rick did say he spoke to her,
Yes.
and I think there was some maybe confusion with some what do you call it, capital costs versus operational costs. But he's, I guess, going to follow up with her. Those concerns.
So she was seeking clarification of information, or?
Right.
Yes, and this was a little bit out of her wheelhouse.
Oh.
What we're being asked to do here, she's more,
More the operational side versus kind of capital costs.
Yes.
And I think that's what she was supposed to be looking at.
yeah, so she had a lot of questions for Rick,
Oh, okay.
asking things about, the capital side of it.
Okay.
As opposed to operations.
Okay, so we don't have a final
No update
report
from
yet?
her.
Okay, no update from her?
No, but Rick did speak with
I
her.
don't even have a preliminary, no.
Huh?
No.
No, okay. All right, is there anything else on this? Any questions from out there? Nope, okay. Is that it for, thinking that it is. Okay, we can move on. Let's see, this isn't my revised one. No think, oh, I'm still learning how to do an agenda properly, but I don't think we have any bills payable unless, do you have something soon? Do you have something to submit to us?
I've submitted several, but
You haven't been paid yet? Okay. You know where we live.
yeah.
Because we paid one, I think there's, oh, we're waiting for the one where it says North Carver Water District. Did,
I haven't heard anything on that.
Okay, didn't,
Oh, you submitted
Joanne
one
said
that
she-
said North Carver Water
Oh.
District, and you sent it,
I just have a master that I keep replacing,
Oh,
so I
okay.
just must not have changed that.
Oh, okay.
right, so Joanna was looking for something that says, you know, the Redevelopment Authority.
Okay, I can check on that.
okay.
That was whatever the most recent one was tonight.
It was, we got it last
And
week or
if there's
so.
anything that you think is missing, just send us an email telling us what the dates are.
Okay.
And then we can, you know, confirm with Joanna on those bills.
Okay.
So if we don't miss anything that you deserve, and we don't give you anything that you don't deserve. No free bonuses here.
I just want to add one more thing back on the renewal. I just saw this.
Okay.
I had mentioned to the consultant from, that Hillwood has hired, that the, you know, part of the influence was the planning board and the select board, and I said recreation also. But if we can think of other committees, that would be, and obviously North Carver Water District, but other committees that we may want to have them reach out to, that could also be, you know, help push this project along.
Okay.
All right, not just individual names, but groups as well.
Okay. It's probably just more looking through, let's look through the boards.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I mentioned conservation too. So.
yeah, so would that be the idea that they would have to be referenced for, like the Concom will be working in that area, but this could be groups that could benefit from?
The idea is to find out if any of these groups do have concerns about what they know about the project so far, and if so, what are those concerns, and how can we allay any fears, and how can we
Okay.
answer their questions?
Okay, that could almost be a memo that goes out to every
Yeah, I could be.
chairman, you know,
Yes.
of everything.
Yeah.
That they could put on their agenda and decide whether they want to bring one of us
Right.
in to discuss it, bring somebody from our PR team that we're assembling to discuss it. And do we know if Hillwood's in town, or,
I don't know.
I don't know. Jim, do you know if any of the Hillwood team is in town right now,
I
or?
haven't heard anything.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try and get in touch with Mac tomorrow. See kind of, it's time for me to touch base with him too. The other thing on our agenda tonight is, I was contacted by an attorney for Slocum Gibbs Cranberries, and in 2010, the Redevelopment Authority deeded, sold to Slocum Gibbs a parcel of land on Wareham Street, which in reviewing it, it doesn't say enough as to where the deed simply reads 0 Wareham Street containing 4.6 acres. It was a tax title piece that was sold, and it was sold January 13th, 2010. Their attorney would like a confirmatory deed from us, and their attorney David Delaney drew one up, which everyone should have a copy of, which clarifies it, because it's, they've got it coming from the town of Carver and the Carver Redevelopment Authority. So that's, anyway, the reason this is in your package is because this was tax title. I looked it over, and from an examiner's standpoint, it does need a confirmatory deed, truthfully identifying the property. I would like this confirmatory deed to go up to council to review. I think they dropped it off today, or yesterday. You got it today or yesterday?
Right in the envelopes there.
Yeah, but they dropped one off to Shelby, and she said she brought it down to you.
Right.
So it was this envelope,
So
this
everything,
file.
right, in the
Okay.
two envelopes, so
So do you have a copy of this?
I don't.
So I'd like that reviewed by council, and why don't you send them the letterhead, the cover letter? Because the process, I told him, is I didn't want to pay council to do the deed, and they were more than happy to do it. So their council has drawn up a deed. I just want our council to review it. And here, send them that too. You can't send them enough. So that's the original deed that they would like a confirmatory of. So all of those are there. So if we can get the answer back on that, by next week. It has a place for the Board of Selectmen to sign. I don't know whether they need to or not. But council can straighten that out for us. It only has one place for the RDA to sign, and that would be either Savory or myself as chair and vice chair, or I think he said even treasurers could do it.
Was this one where there was a MOA between town and the board to sell it, or?
I can look that up.
Or do we just want to go ahead and the select board sign off?
Well, the MOU, it's 11 years old, so I'm sure the distribution of the money has long since been gone.
Yep.
But now it's just a confirmatory deed for description purposes. So they went back and did the title to it and found the actual parcels that were taken for taxes. And so those are what they want confirmed. So if you can have council just look those over, send them the cover letter, send them the old deed, send them the new deed, and have them tell us what we need to know. And then I'm hoping that they'll record it for $175. Okay, we have no treasurer's report. Are there any questions on any of that first? Any questions? Nope.
Jim, do you know if the GIS maps have disappeared, have been taken off the Carver website?
You mean the parcel maps or
Yeah.
the?
Yeah, because I refer to Lot 3 on Assessor's Plan number 128, and I don't see the GIS maps anymore on the Carver page.
Okay, so the parcel maps have been updated,
Okay,
so it may have changed. And unfortunately, Craig is not with us anymore to ask a question.
Craig is gone?
No, he left the town,
Oh.
working up in Boston.
okay, well, they had been on the website, the Town of Carver website. They were one of the 8 things where the assessor's database is and the meetings and agendas, and it seems.
I looked at them today I just typed into the search engine Carver Assessor's Maps, and it came up. I was looking for something else.
What did you type in?
Carver Assessor's Maps in the search engine. And
Oh, of the Carver page.
no, it wasn't on the Carver page, it was just
Oh, okay.
in the Google machine. And they brought me right up to it. And they did have the GIS, which I didn't want. I wanted the actual listing of maps.
Okay, and there they are.
And there they are.
Okay.
So did they say identify which one?
Yeah, map 128 is what it says. Sweet.
See, if they've combined it in any manner in the last 10 or 11 years and provided a new plan, the assessors makes the change.
Okay, I see where this is. This is way back. Okay, wow.
Maybe we would have to have the assessors maps from 2010, 2009, don't know if they keep them.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Well, Lot 3 is here, 4.2 acres.
Okay.
That's there. There is no identifying lot number for the Bumpus Greenhouse lot. They don't have anything on it. Okay.
They must have taken, they probably took the description from the tax title and went back to wherever it was taken and the description from the deed that it references.
Okay.
And if if the attorney needs any of that kind of information, just let me know. Okay, I can get it for you. Anything else? We don't have a treasurer's report, do we, Pat?
We do not.
We do not. And Joanna is unavailable tonight, so we have minutes from September 7th. Has everyone had a chance to look at them?
No. I'm not.
Okay, do you want to put off voting on them?
Since
for
we're
next week?
voting next week,
Yeah.
since we're meeting next week,
Okay.
yeah, if we wouldn't mind.
Just wanted to note, last meeting, there was one tabled too that wasn't on this agenda.
It's still
Okay.
tabled.
Yeah, if you can give me a week to read the,
I actually haven't looked at
The
it in
minutes.
the last 10 days.
Fair enough.
I will get to that. So we will table acceptance of the minutes of September 7th till next week. Are there any comments, questions, concerns? Anyone? Jim, anything? You know what we have to do tomorrow, so. And we're gonna see if we can get, we're gonna see if we can pull together some kind of meeting maybe in the next 2 days with Amy. And that would be Savory and myself.
yeah, tomorrow would be better. Or
Tomorrow would be better.
Or Friday afternoon.
Or Friday afternoon, I'm good too. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.